We all go a little mad sometimes. Forget you.
You are undoubtedly.
Here's Johnny.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Horror Hour, the place where we discuss, debate, and disagree on all things horror. I'm one of the hosts, Yutaka. Hello. And today I'm joined with George.
Hello. It's been a while, but I'm here. I'm still alive. I haven't been murdered by a sexy serial killer, unfortunately. So I am still here. Hi.
He never sent in his audition. He never sent in his audition, though. Jeffrey Reddick is still waiting for that video. Well, today is exciting. It's kind of like our big season finale. Ben wishes he could be here, but we wanted to set a precedent of, not 20,000 honorable mentions. We just couldn't have that today.
Yeah, we actually said to him he can't be here today because we wanted this video to be less than 6 hours in length. So
very true. And so we thought for a year-end review, we thought it'd be fun to do our top 3 favorite horror films of the year, and then also our top 2 worst of the year. This should be fun. And I think we'll do one honorable mention that could have made the cut.
Okay.
So I think that's fair because
Yes.
There's at least one I want to mention, but not go into crazy detail. All right, so let's start off with our 3rd favorite horror film of the year. I'll let you go first, George.
Okay, so I actually only watched this film about a week ago.
Ooh.
And I had been planning to watch it when it came out, but I just didn't have time. And I was like, and it came onto iTunes the other week. And I thought, let me watch it because I'd been really excited about it. And that is Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. Now, I know there's been a lot of mixed feelings on this film, and which was another reason that I was kind of a bit like, oh, whether I wanted to watch it or not. But it was on iTunes, and I had an iTunes gift card, and I thought I might as well get it. I'm not losing out any money, even if it's rubbish. So I rented it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I love Matt Smith. Like, I just love him so much. He's my favorite Doctor. I can't wait to see him in House of Dragon. And so, yeah, I was super excited about him. As I think I've mentioned on this podcast before, I've never really gotten into Anya Taylor-Joy. And I think we've had this discussion before, but I did really enjoy her in this film, I have to say. And also, I've forgotten the girl's name now, but the other girl, the main girl in it. It was, and obviously the late Diana Riggs as well was in it. And maybe it's because I live near Soho and work near Soho. I really enjoyed it because I was like, oh, look, this is, I could feel myself in the film. And I thought it was I really enjoyed it. I understand the ending could seem, it does go a little crazy places.
It was shit. The ending. Sorry.
Yeah, the ending was a bit, but I think the overall story, and I really liked the twist. I mean, maybe I'm just thick and I didn't see the twist coming because I did think, oh, so I don't want to say what it is, but if you haven't seen it, but the twist, I thought, oh, this is definitely this person, but it wasn't. So yes, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was it's only 2 hours. It was an easy to watch film. I was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I just want to watch something, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the acting. I thought the acting was great. The music was amazing, and that's really what carried the film. And I've got the soundtrack on my phone. I've been listening to it on the way to work. Anya Taylor-Joy performance of Downtown was fantastic. I have to say that.
Yes, I will agree to that.
And the
virtually everything else you said. Oh, well, okay, yeah, no, that was good too.
Like I love neon. I love me some neon lights. So, and there was lots of neon lights in that. So yeah, so this is a late entry into 3rd, and but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like a good psychological. Like I say, it's not a horror, it's more psychological, but I think we can still enter those into the world. I mean, I wouldn't, The Shining isn't a horror film, it's a psychological film. So I would say, but anyway, I'm going off the tangent, but my number 3 is Last Night in Soho. Yes. Thank you.
Not a fan of it.
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right. One thing I will say, I will agree with the soundtrack. And Anya Taylor-Joy's performance is, who knew?
Mm. Can't wait for the
Well, I
ending.
mean, I knew she was talented, but took you a moment. But okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What's yours then? Tell us yours, number 3.
My number 3 is probably a film you haven't heard of. I think I may have mentioned this to you. I think it's technically a 2020 film, but it didn't come out. I think it was in the festivals, but it wasn't released until 2021, and just recently on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Devereaux Milburn's Honeydew.
Yes, you have mentioned it to me, but I haven't seen it.
It's real good. So I will put their info down below because I am using their quote, and I should have looked at to remember who it was, but the perfect way to describe this is Motel Hell meets A24. And not sure if you know what Motel Hell is, George.
I have heard, but I've not. Yeah. I'm aware.
I wasn't sure. So essentially, they're literally planting people to grow food and all this. But yeah, this was such a creepy fucking film.
Mm-hmm.
The score just was so unnerving, and it just really went, because I will say one of the great things is also the lighting within this film. It was never bright, so it just kind of added to a sense of dread. And then you have this score, and then most of it takes place in this old couple's house, and it's a very, very interesting and fucked up film, that everything comes together at the end. And I don't want to give it away because an actress popped up that I never even knew anything about. I just thought I'd give it a shot. Who I haven't seen in a very long while. And this was just, whoa, oh, kind of role. And it was good. But it also stars Steven Spielberg's son. Didn't know he was an actor. Did a really good job. Actually, also, I just really, really fucking loved the story and the way, again, everything came together at the end. And I just love a good, creepy film with old people you can't trust.
Yeah. It's very relatable.
Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have seen this in theaters. Again, I think it was in the festivals, but it is on Shudder, and I would highly recommend it. That would be my 3rd favorite film of the year.
Well, obviously, we're both sore throats today for some reason.
I know.
We're so choked up because it's the end of the season.
I know.
But yeah, obviously, I haven't seen Honeydew, but I think I'll definitely check it out if it's on Shudder, which, if you haven't noticed, we do love. So yeah, that's one definitely to add to my list, because it sounds
# not sponsored, but it's okay.
# not sponsored yet. He meant.
Yes.
But no. Okay, well, I'll jump in with my number 2 then. A film that I forgot came out this year until I was looking back to see. I did. Because this year's felt so long.
That's very true.
And so, and it was only when I saw the film pop up again, I was like, oh my God, I remember how I felt after coming off this film. And I just remember thinking, wow. And that is A Quiet Place Part 2.
Ooh.
Now, I think maybe because it was the first horror film that was back out when cinemas opened here in the UK, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And obviously that film definitely lends itself to being in the cinema.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of it is silence, but for some reason it's when those big moments happen. But I really, really enjoyed this film. I thought, obviously, A Quiet Place was such a fantastic film, and was, everyone was itching to see whether the sequel would live up to it. And I genuinely believe it did. I love Emily Blunt, John Krasinski. I love the actors who play the children, all of them. I think everyone was fantastic. It was great to have Cillian Murphy in it as well. And I really just liked how it added an extra layer to the... Also, I liked how it extended or added more layers onto the universe or the world of what has happened here. Because in the first one, we are really mainly just focusing on this family, whereas towards the end of this film, obviously we meet more and more people who are all surviving through this, and I think that was a nice way to kind of open it up, because I think there is a lot of legs for this series in the future. I would definitely obviously like to see A Quiet Place 3. Maybe, you know, I would like to see a TV series, maybe a streaming series where it's, you know, different, like a mini series where it's 6 episodes, you know, and different survivors through different times of this, of what happened, whether one's at the beginning, one's in the middle, and, you know, things like that. So I'd say Emily Blunt and John Krasinski is just fantastic. I love him. So
put George on the payroll for that one. That's
you're welcome.
Not a bad idea.
So yeah, that would be.
Well, don't cancel me because I've not seen 1 or 2.
What? Oh my God. How have you not seen them? They're so good.
At first, I didn't have the desire to see 1. Then 2 came out, and that's all that one of our friends, Gator, or now Oscar Film Forecast, always just raved about, and I just wanted to be a dick and be like, not seeing it. And then I guess what? I never saw it. And certain films feel like they would work so much more in cinema. So I don't know if I mean, I do need to watch them because they've both gotten universal praise. I just don't know if I'm going to end up enjoying it as much as everybody else did, because I think it would be a different experience watching at home versus seeing on the big screen. But that's more on me, because that was me being stupid and petty. I'll own that.
Fair enough. But no, yeah, I think this was a really good film, and it was a great way for horror to kind of jump back into the cinemas this year. And yeah, I'm really excited to see. I know that they're creating a game as well, which would be, I mean, it might be a bit like The Last of Us, but I think it'd be really interesting. I like to see that they are. I love nothing more than a universe, a horror universe. I wish there was more of them. At the moment, we've really only got The Conjuring that's kind of taken that MCU style writing and kind of, you know, built upon it. And I would like to see more of those, and I think A Quiet Place is definitely one that could work that way.
Yeah, I agree. I could see it going far. I know they plan to do a 3rd, but I don't know is it still centered around same family?
I believe it might be different, I heard, but I don't know 100%. So we'll see.
Okay. All right.
What about you? What's your number 2?
So my number 2 is another one that I've talked with George about. He hasn't seen. I loved it. I would have loved to have seen this on theaters. I know right now they're doing screenings in certain locations, but unfortunately, I had to also stream this as well. It is on Amazon Prime. I may have the main character behind me, Miss Lupita. And it is Gigi Salguero's Bingo Hell. One thing that I just love about this film is not only is it a good horror film and it's got some good camp scenes, good gory scenes, but it's also got really good social commentary in terms of gentrification. Also, big corporations taking over or kind of coming in and just, ruining everything, because, they do. But also it's very rare that your main cast isn't going to be some, young teenage crowd. So I really enjoyed to see all these adult actors, to see that this, film actually had heart at the end. I really enjoyed the theme of community and family. It was well acted. I thought the comedy was well placed because, within 7 minutes, I knew I loved Lupita. She walked by, she bumped into a lady, spilled her coffee, and said, "Fucking hipsters." I was like, oh my God, I love you. I think I'm you. So it's really good. It's super fun. I would love to see this in theaters. And I know Gigi right now is doing some festivals with this film, and it is really great. It's part of the Welcome to the Blumhouse series. Really enjoy it. I keep telling George to see it, but eventually he will.
I will.
He should.
I will.
I know Ben liked it though. Ben did watch it, so I could report Ben actually liked that. And I'm excited because later today I get to speak with her. So
will that be out before this or after this, do we think?
Oh yeah, no, that's gonna I don't know when I'm going to drop that. It depends.
So if it's out already, go and check it out. And if it
I'll
isn't
link it.
already, yeah. And if it isn't, look forward to that coming soon.
Yes. See, this is why we miss George. He's good at the promoting. But really, I do love this film. It's just so much fun. Yeah. That's my second pick.
I know that you and Ben both sang praise about it, and I've seen a lot of praise about it on Twitter and things like that through obviously other horror channels and things. So yeah, no, it is on my watch list because I think Gigi's great, and yeah, I will. Maybe I'll watch it over Christmas with my parents because they like horror films. Was it not to watch with the parents?
I actually think they would love this. I'm sorry, but it's old people kicking some ass,
which is great.
Just saying.
It's cool old people. We like that.
Yes. They are so much fun. I did. And the banter back and forth, the script, so much fun.
There we go. Number 2. Bingo hell. Well, do we want to do our worst before we get to number 1? Do we want to leave our number 1
I think
best
so.
For the final reveal?
Oh my God, if our number 1's the same.
I don't think it will be.
It probably won't be. That's upsetting to hear.
Well, why didn't we do our do we want to do worst and then our honorable mention and then
yes,
number 1?
I think so.
Okay, well I'll do you mind if I go first with my number 2 worst?
Absolutely.
So my number 2 worst is Malignant. I just didn't like this film, and I know it's going to come to a shock to a lot of people because I know a lot of people loved it, but I just really this film wasn't for me. It was just
what?
I can understand why people like it, but it was just so stupid. I wasn't horror. It was no horror element to it. I just thought it was, and it was so confusing. And it just wasn't. No, I'm sorry. Look, I understand the vision. I mean, I can definitely say that the scene in the cell is definitely like gross and crazy, but yeah, I don't know, it didn't connect with me as much as I know it connected with a lot of other people, and so I have no need to watch this film again, and I don't know if I need to see a sequel to it personally. Yeah,
I don't think I'd want a sequel either, but I wish I would have saw this in theaters. I saw this on HBO Max. I would have had a great time. It's so camp. And it's gory, it's fun, it was predictable. Although that end twist was still a lot of fun. Some people saw it coming, some people didn't. I was one of the ones that didn't. But oh well. But I fucking loved it. Trash.
Sorry. It just look, I can understand why people like it. I can definitely see that it's gonna over a time. I think it'll definitely have a cult following. It just wasn't for me, I'm afraid. And so, yeah, I had to pick a number 2 worst. So, and I went with that one. So what about you? What's your second worst movie of 2021?
Don't cancel me, people.
No.
Halloween Kills.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's right. Okay,
it was a filler film.
Yeah.
You know, I loved let me put it this way. I loved the violence so much. That was probably its saving grace for me, because I thought there was some good social commentary in that one too, I guess. But I love Judy Greer, honestly. I'll watch her in anything. And I love Jamie, Andy Matichak also. You know, I just thought as a film, it was just a filler film, and we all knew it kind of would be. So I was still hoping they would kind of either do something more with the story, or maybe give us, I don't know. I didn't like that the way it ended, and not even because of what happened to a character. It was just because it just ended. And I don't like when films do that. And I just think there could have been a little bit more for that setup. But yeah, it's not because, you know, I love, obviously it's Halloween Kills. I expect violence. I want violence. I crave it in that film. And it delivered on all points for that. But everything else, I was just left very underwhelmed, which is unfortunate, because I wanted to like it. Wanted to. it just, and I've seen it actually several times because I was like, first time I was like, no, I need to see it again. Maybe it's just me. And second time I was like, I was like, no, I gotta like this film. The third time I was like, no, just not for me. Which is a shame.
I agree. Like I saw it in cinemas and I was and you know, I don't know if I was not looking forward to it. I wasn't. I mean, obviously the trailers were a lot of fun, and it's a Halloween film, so I'll watch it. But I wasn't like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch this film, because again, like you said, we kind of knew that there was another, well, we obviously know that it was going to be a trilogy. And so we're kind of like, well, what could really happen in this film that's gonna, you know, be of any sustenance or substance.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy like elements, like I really enjoyed that scene with Judy Greer and the escaped mental asylum patient when she's like, and I really liked to say the social commentary on the mob aspect of things. I thought that was good. But yeah, and the violence was, I loved all the violence. Thought it was great. My only thing was, again, and I know we're supposed to say this, you could say this in all of the Halloween films, but like there was ample, especially at the end, there was ample time to murder that man. Like there was, like when they all that could have been done and dusted right there and then. And I know there is elements of that across all the films, but that was like 7-on-1. Like he was on the floor and you left him. And I'm like, and then she died. I mean, I get it. It's to lead. But and then I'm like,
I did love Little John and Big John. That was cute. And I was like, oh, and I knew it was going to happen, but hey, it worked. And it was so cool. I liked that because we deserve to be murdered in films too.
This is, everybody wants to be murdered by Michael Myers, so
it's true.
Let it be known. But yeah, I agree.
He's so dedicated.
Yes, it wasn't. It's not made any of my lists because I haven't really thought about it. So I'm sorry if Ben's listening right now, because I'm sure Ben's like screaming at his computer.
Oh, Ben's probably happy it's not on your worst list.
True.
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, talking about really bad films, I'd like to mention my number one. This was a film that I had known that was coming for a while. I didn't know where they were going to go with this film. It was a film that was a part of a franchise that was extremely dear and near to my heart when I was younger. And they released a trailer for this film. We reacted to the said trailer to this film, and I thought, okay, this is definitely different. Let's see what happens. We were very, very kindly gifted screeners for this movie. And then I watched, well, we all watched the said movie and me. And that movie, if you haven't guessed already, is Paranormal Activity Next of Kin. And this film, just like there's not much more I can say about it other than the fact that for me, it was different because I grew up with the Paranormal Activities. I understand, look, that they weren't doing well towards the end. I get that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, we were all robbed. And I understand. But for me, I don't know what it was about those films. Maybe it was just time of my life. I love found footage. I love like ghost demons, all that stuff. So for me, it was just a perfect nick. And I loved the story that they were going with, apart from Ghost Dimension. And then I was like, okay, they're bringing it back. They're giving it a chance to restart and for a new audience. But it just didn't land. Like we said in our review, it felt like they slapped the Paranormal Activity name on a film that had been in a pile of scripts that they had found and said, let's call it Paranormal Activity. It was like half, they were saying about how it was half found, like hybrid, but it was so confusing to at what point, like, you swapped from found footage to actual cameras. The acting wasn't amazing. The story was just a mess story. Nothing really happened, and it was just very bizarre. And it would kind of disappointed me because I really hoped that we might be able to reboot the franchise in a successful manner, and I don't think that's going to be possible anymore. And I don't know if, because they've made this film and it's not to do with the original series, it will ever get a half decent ending to the original story, which is why I've always wanted with the original characters. But I think that's going to happen. And that's why this is so far down. This is why it's my number one, because it's a catalyst of domino effect that this film has now had on what the rest of the franchise could have, would have been, and is no longer going to be. So unfortunately, as much as I love a lot of the people that were involved in this film and love their previous work, this one for me was just not. And I think some people need to be able to take criticisms of films as well. I'm waiting for
Shots
you to
fired on that one. But you know what? He's not wrong. Sadly, it was a bad film. I think you are correct on the story-wise. It just was all over the place. But it was a boring film for me. I don't even think that would have really worked in theaters. Just the POV, the way I don't know what that film was going for. And I think towards the end, when it got a bit gory, which, I do love gore, I have to say, when it started doing slow motion shit, I was like, get out of here. This is dumb. I'm sorry. What? I just, I was like, this needs to end now. I'm ready. This is horrible. I wanted to like it, honestly, because I thought, good creepy setting, all of this, and it just sadly was not it.
Yeah. I think it was trying to reinvent something that I don't think necessarily needed to be reinvented. Either you leave it alone or you don't. And I understand found footage is something that over the years has always kind of
it's hard to pull off.
It's hard to pull off. And I think a lot of people feel the need to reinvent found footage. The original Paranormal Activity series kind of did it with CCTV style filming compared to, the handheld Blair Witch sort of style. And then this one tried to make we were like, oh, you think you know what found footage is? Well, we're going to have 25 different cameras, GoPros, drones, slow motion. It's like, we don't need all of that. The whole element of the Blair Witch and the original Paranormal Activities, a lot of them, is the main action happened on one single camera, and it was shaky, and it was you don't know what you're seeing. Whereas when it starts getting HD, and this is something I know we'll probably end up talking about in some point in this list. There's another film that which was found footage that came out this year that really took into account all of it reinvented it in a way that made it more scary. Like, it wasn't trying to up its game. It did it in a backward route, which worked better because that kind of style works with found footage. But yeah, I'm sorry. This just really, I just call this film next of kin, because to me it's not a Paranormal Activity film. But that is my number one. I've said my piece. If you liked it, good for you. I hope you're happy and healthy. But yeah, sorry, it's not mine. Anyway, can we just stop talking about it?
Yeah.
Tell me what's yours.
My number one pick, George probably hasn't watched. I watch a lot of stuff, and I'm also mad because I paid to rent this. Because I watched the trailer, and I like to try and also see, because obviously we're not always going to get a big budget horror, flick or big names or anything like that. So I saw that going into it, and at least I was like, well, the camera quality looks good, because you could get some low budget, and not say that those are bad, but if you're I could already tell just by acting wise, I'm like, okay, this might be a struggle, but it looks good. I'll give it a shot. It's called Lanterns Lane. Don't rent it. Don't spend money on it. It's a waste of fucking time. And let me go into what this whole, I knew as soon as I was watching this, I was like, at first I was like, I don't mind. It looks good, looks polished, great. Maybe 10 minutes in, I was like, I already know the plot. I know how it's going to end. Hopefully they can surprise me, because if not, that's going to piss me off. Well, they did not surprise me. It was what I expected. In fact, it stole so much from Scream that it was so egregious at a certain point, to where you see the two killers, and I knew it was them from the start, and I knew their whole motive, which was so much similar to Scream that it was just disturbing, that I watched them wound one another so they could make it look like they were really, also they're a victim too. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Again, it's low budget. And so the set was just an abandoned house, and that's fine. But if you're going to do that, at least get an abandoned house that actually looks creepy. I mean, this just looked unfinished and not in a good way. And especially when the whole premise is, people were murdered here, some squatters. Like, oh, all right. And then there's also a ghost story that they try to add to it, which made no effing sense because it really doesn't come in until the very end as a throwaway while the credits are rolling. It was sloppy. And it was very frustrating because I'm all about trying to find new talent, new creators. I love horror. And I think also the one thing that I could have been at saving grace is there may have been a point or two where there could have been a really good chase sequence, because a good chase sequence can go a long way. But then the fucking camera angles messed it all up. It was so, like, my voice is getting scratchy because I'm getting so annoyed. It was just pure shit. I'm annoyed I had to watch it, or not, I had to. I'm annoyed I spent money on it, most of all. I don't even if this were streaming, I would say, no, please don't. Just pass it. I'll put in like we'll put in clips of of these movies, and if you've seen it and you liked it, good for you. I'm glad. If you have seen it and you hate it, comment down below. Let's focus on this because no one should see that film ever again.
Well, we both had number ones that we really had stuff to say about. So, but that's why there are number ones worst film of the year. So there we go. Well, unlike the ones you mentioned before that I haven't seen, I won't be watching this one. Maybe I'll watch the trailer to see if I can get an idea of it. But yeah, it doesn't sound like my vibe.
No.
Well, dun, dun, dun. Well, should we say our should we do our honorable mention before we dive into our
very first? Absolutely.
Number one.
I'll start with my honorable mention.
Okay.
This was my very first film back to theaters. Post-pandemic. I mean, yes, we're still in it, but this was the first time because high risk, and I was vaccinated, but I was still scared. I'm true, I still double mask, all that good stuff. But it was Netflix's or Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, and let me tell you, seeing that on the big screen was so amazing, so much fun. It was fantastic. I was just so happy to be in theaters, honestly, but I really do love that film. It's just a wild ride. I love the kills. I love the zombies. I think, yes, there was kind of like, that it's Zack Snyder. So, he's got an idea, or he's got like this long running, like, I'm going to create something here, like a new universe, which it looks like Netflix is, hey, we like you. Take all our money and create something awesome. And he is. So I'm really excited. So, where that goes. Warner Brothers. Dicks. I'm also not like, look, I love Zack Snyder, but he may not be like, oh my gosh, for me, like he is for a lot of other people. But he does put out some quality work at times. And this was just so much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I agree. I really liked that film. It was, just he leaves a lot of it. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there for future things and what things might happen. So I like that they like laid out there, and I'm pretty sure Netflix will definitely treat him well. And I think we'll get to see a lot of good content from that universe as well.
Oh, and had one of my favorite lines, and I died laughing as soon as they said it. And I can say this because I'm also Japanese. I loved it when Tanaka was like, easy peasy Japanesey. And Dieter's like, I don't think you can. I laughed so hard at that. That was the best thing ever. So
it is. And speaking of Army of the Dead, if you haven't already, you can go and check out our interview with the icon that is Miss Bergio. We interviewed her not long after the film had come out. She's fantastic.
Soccer mom. My heart still breaks.
We hope that we said with Danielle agreed that we need that spin-off of Soccermom. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe we'll get something. Obviously, she's got loads of stuff going on, but yeah, don't forget to check that out as well. If you haven't already. Okay, I will say my honorable mention, which I think might be your number one.
I had a feeling this was going to happen. You bastard.
That is VHS 94. I love this film. As you probably know on this, we all love this film. We've interviewed nearly everyone that's got something to do with this film, which is great. We've had a lot of fun with them. I say I love found footage. I really appreciated the VHS series, apart from Vile, which wasn't the best, but 1 and 2. 2 is still my favorite. I would say it's 2, 94, and then 1, and then the other one. The reason this isn't in my top 3 is just because it was really close with that Last Night in Soho, but I mean, because I watched Last Night in Soho so recent. Oh, right, yes. But it was very different. It was different type of film. I wanted to kind of have a different types, but VHS 94 is a fantastic film. The group of creatives that were on this film, I think, is really what pushes it. There's some fantastic brains behind the scenes, and I think that it was really great to see each of these individual, but I don't want to talk about it too much because I want Yutaka to talk about it. So all I will say is I did really enjoy this film. In no way is this disrespect to this movie. I loved it and I'd definitely watch it again, but it just nearly missed my top 3 there. So I mean, piggybacking off that, Yutaka, what's your number 1 movie of the year? If it's not this,
we should have done honorable mentions.
I'm sorry.
But yes, no, he's correct. VHS 94 is probably, it's my favorite. It's actually my favorite film of the year, which I know people are like, what? There's all these other like Oscar baity. Who cares right now? This to me was it was done so well. And especially coming off of VHS Viral, it had some, it had some boots to fill because that one left a lot of us, well, disappointed. And but VHS 94 has I love all the creators. As George has said, we've got to interview mostly every single one of them. So that's just, life goals for me at this point. But yeah, it was the first film in a very long time that actually scared the hell out of me. And so that's why it's definitely my number 1, because it first starts off with Storm Drain, which hail Ratma, and I fucking love because the claustrophobic scent or feeling, and then the creature design, I loved it. And then of course then you've got Empty Wake, which, oh my god, I heart Simon Barrett. And then next was Timo's. I loved the subject. I thought it was super action-packed, scary, freaky at times, and also very depressing at the end. My heart kind of broke on that one. And then the final one was Ryan Prowse The Terror in the segments, which was it was both comical and frightening with how real it is to current day events. And then intermixed to that was also then Jennifer Reeder's Holy Hell, which at the time while watching, I was like, I'm not sure if this really works, but after rewatching it, I'm like, okay, all right, I really enjoy it. And I loved the Easter eggs put throughout those segments. So for me, VHS 94 it was a lot of fun because along with found footage isn't one of my most favorite types of horror. I really enjoyed it in this. And I love that we had so many talented creators and got all different types that it just, for me, made such a fun, well-rounded film. And a lot of these, well, fuck, I want to see a universe, or I want to see more about that, and so that's why for me, it's my favorite. It's on Shudder. There's a reason it's one of Shudder, or there's a reason it's Shudder's biggest premiere ever, because it's fucking good. So I'm sorry to hear it's only his honorable mention, but I'm happy he still mentioned it. But now I'm concerned about what your number 1 is, because I swear to God, if you even say Conjuring, you can go straight to hell.
I would never say that, but it does begin with a C. It is the name that we should never say 5 times in a mirror. It is Candyman.
Ooh.
Now, I know that Yutaka wasn't a huge fan of this movie. I was quite surprised. And actually, Ben really did enjoy this movie, which was a shock. I thought would be the other way around. But I don't know what it was about this. Maybe because I don't know. I just think Nia DaCosta did a brilliant job. And we kind of mentioned it. You mentioned it in Bingo Hell about the whole idea of gentrification, which this obviously did. Now, I know that there was a lot of and ahhing about how much certain people were involved in this, original people were involved in this film, but I think it worked well. And I think it gave chance for sort of a soft reboot, but also laying homage to the original, which, as we always say in this podcast, is like, I severely underrated it as our horror film, and we kind of always, I think, even we at times kind of brush past and we go, "Oh my god, we forgot like Candyman." Like, it's still, and the music's fantastic. So for me, it was this film. I can't really say why. I just loved the story. There wasn't too. I loved the cast. I mean, they were all brilliant. It was, you know, Yahoo Abdul Mahin II was brilliant, and I really loved Tana Paris. It took me about half an hour to realize it was her in the film, and I was like, that's Monica Rambeau. Because she looks so different. I mean, she looks fucking stunning in this film. Her hair and like makeup and her outfits are like so cool in this film. She looked brilliant. And Nathan Stewart Jarrett was hilarious as her brother. He was just honestly so funny. And everyone was in it. You know, it was I just thought the cast was really good. I thought it was a great bunch of people. The story, yeah, look, you know, the story wasn't everything, but I kind of, maybe it was the nostalgia of the original movie that kept me going through this. And I mean, I remember thankfully I managed to go into the premiere of it in London, which I didn't realize it was. I remember tweeting about it, and then Yutaka was like, "George, I don't think the embargo's lifted yet," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Which I didn't know. I thought, "Oh, I'm seeing it. Everyone must have seen it." But yeah, and I will never forget that ending moment, that even though it was literally 5 seconds, tell everyone. I remember I just remember like being like caught for breath. I remember going, and then like, you know me, I'm always crying. So I got welled up. Because towards the end of the film, I thought, okay, Tony Todd's not in this movie. Okay. And then he was. So yeah, look, I know it's kind of a bit left field, but I really did enjoy this film, and it's one that I definitely would like to watch again and again. And yeah, I know it was just, I found it really interesting, and I managed to take one of my friends from work who's never seen the original one, and she came out and she was like, "Wow, I really like the message." And she's like 56, and she was like, "Wow, I really like the message." Not that that means anything, but I'm just saying, you know, she's not really a horror fan, and I was like, "Come and see this film, come and see this film." She's like, "All right, come with," and she really enjoyed it as well. So I think having her there as well the second time I went to see it. But yeah, I don't know, I just, when I was making my list, I was like, I don't know what it is, but I'm so drawn. Maybe I am going to be the next Candyman. Maybe I'm being drawn into his work. Yeah, maybe he's just going to kill me. So, but yeah, that is my number one. I know it's a shocker. I know you're probably surprised, Yutaka, but yeah, it was my number one. Sorry.
It's mainly you white people and looking in the mirror. I mean, when we saw
escaped.
Yeah, let's be serious. It was those 5 teenage girls, and the one Asian's like, "Nope, bye." She was smart. But you know, Candyman was frustrating for me, and part of it was, I know that George brings up gentrification, and that was a huge theme in the first one, and I just don't think that theme was carried as well within this, you know, this film. I know it was part of it, but it just wasn't like at the heart, or it didn't feel like it was at the heart like the original, which is fine because it's still trying to forge its own path. And my biggest issue was that third act, when it just took a left turn out of nowhere, and it just felt so rushed, it just wasn't for me. But I will say, and I do remember when we talked about this, that Nia DaCosta, though, I mean, and the cinematographer as well, like, it was shot so well that I can't argue with that. Like, as a director, I can't wait to see more from her, honestly. I think that was amazing. It's also sad that this was the first ever number one for a Black female director. Like, what the fuck? There's so much talent out there. And so that's frustrating. But I was really happy for that. I was not a big a fan of the film. I don't hate it by any means. That's why I wouldn't put it on, any of that list. But it just wasn't, it's certainly not in my top three. And I really respect some of the elements. I just didn't think it all came together. And honestly, that rushed ending, a lot of times an ending can make or break a film. And for this one, it broke it for me. But I loved the cast, the entire cast, honestly. And her brother was hilarious. And I did love Yaya's transformation with like the honeycomb and all up his arm and face.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was. I just kind of really enjoyed it, and maybe because, again, I was sort of like thinking about the original, and then they played like the sort of slow version of the music in the credit. And I just really liked it. I mean, I don't know. I don't see if there will be any sort of carry on from this. This kind of, to me, felt like a closing chapter, even though it was a reboot.
It did really, really well.
It did.
Which is great. It had amazing legs at the box office. Yeah. And I fully feel if we weren't in a pandemic, this easily would have broke 100 mil easily. But this has had such, I'm happy for the cast and for Nia. And also, I'm still going to say this too. I got so pissed every time they're like, it's a Jordan Peele film. No, it's Nia DaCosta's film. But yeah, so I don't know. I think we could see a sequel, and I would still be very happy to see that.
I agree. I do agree. I would like to see a sequel, but
because to me, it felt like it needed. For me, it feels like it needs to. How it ended, and maybe see more Tony Todd.
That's always.
But I mean, I fangirled it, even if it was for 5 seconds. I know I was like in theaters.
I was just like, oh my God, this is the best. He doesn't even need to do anything about 5 seconds and everyone just goes crazy. So.
It's fucking Tony Todd.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Definitely.
Love that dude.
Wow. There we go. That is all of our lists. I was quite I think there was hardly any. Did we have any
VHS 94?
Yeah, but I mean that wasn't even on like, it was only like an honorable mention as well. So like, yeah, we didn't to show how different we all are.
And I hope that means we gave you guys some really good films to go out there and watch. And if you want to torture yourself, go watch our bad films too.
Yeah, and let us know what you think. And also let us know in the comments below your top 3 favorite films of the year and your worst film of the year. Maybe if it's ones we haven't seen, we can check them out. And the worst ones, we will Google them to see how bad they are. But I mean, it's been an interesting year for horror. I think, it's still obviously pandemic-y, and so things are still a little bit off. But I think we can look forward to 2022 to the 16th of January, because we'll be there. Isn't that when it's coming out?
I thought it was the 14th.
Is it the 14th? Okay, well, I'll be there.
It might be 14th for me and 16th for you.
Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But I will be there with open arms, open legs, and open mouth, ready for Scream.
He's right. That's not it. And you know what, guys? That's not my most. That's not my biggest. You already know. I've already told you. Sorry. Yeah. I'm excited for Scream. So don't you give me that, since this will be now the 5th film of Scream that I will have seen opening weekend, bitch. Yeah. So, and I am very excited for it, but I'm ready for some new properties, and the Black Phone, it looks so good, and it's got such great response. So, but before we go, because again, this is our last official podcast of the season. Just, a couple things. We will be back with a season 2. I'm excited. I don't know when that is. I assume once Scream starts up, we're going to be. Well, we're back.
We'll be hurtling through your internet screens with every inch that of January went when Scream flies back.
Yes. But what you will still see, though, especially on our YouTube channel, we'll still probably have reviews coming out because, well, honestly, Chucky season finale, I can't wait to talk about that series or that season. I hope for season 2. It's so fucking good. We'll still have more interviews, and of course Dragula is still going on. Hey, that's me and Liam's thing. No, it really is. I'm so happy about Dragula. I wish George would just get into it.
I know, I did watch the first 2 episodes. That was good for me. I will get round to it.
And so be on the lookout for all that good stuff. Plus, we've got some new merch designed by Kyle. I'm wearing it now.
I was trying to find mine, but it's in the dryer. I'm sorry.
It's really cool.
It is.
We're going to actually promote it more because we have a little fun little jingle to go with it, which will be super cute. But it is in our stores now, and it helps support the channel. But yeah. It's been a really fun year. I know Ben wishes he could have been here, but honestly, guys, you really didn't want all his picks anyways.
No.
You've got the favorites.
Yeah, you got the important ones.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he can give us his, and we'll tweet them out on our Twitter. So
Yes.
You can check, make sure to go over to our Twitter and follow us there so you can find out what Ben thought. And we might as well ask Liam as well. You know, we'll find out what those guys thought, and we'll tweet those so you can check them out on our Twitter. But yeah, it's go for it. Sorry.
One final thing. And you may see us collab with other podcasts because we do have some in the works, and really excited about that. So.
And we do have to say, I mean, first and foremost, thank you very much to everyone who has listened over the last, it's literally been since July, like 4 or 5 months that we've been doing this. And it's, really taken off in a way that we didn't expect, I don't think, at the very beginning, when we were sitting there discussing Fear Street. So I think, again, just thank you so much to whether you listen to us on the pod, whether you follow us on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's on YouTube. For everyone, just thank you very much because we appreciate all of you. And we hope to bring you a season 2, which is even more exciting, and maybe by then we'll get the hang of this. But we really appreciate you.
Shade. Well, that's really shading yourself. So
I know it is. But you know what I mean? Like, we might, hopefully, it's kind of, we've been a bit everywhere. I've unfortunately been really busy, and Yutaka's been absolutely nailing it with doing everything. So I want to say, while I'm here on the podcast, I really appreciate, thank you, Yutaka, for all the work you've done for this channel, because nobody knows apart from us people behind the scenes. So Yutaka does a lot. So please, everybody, sing Yutaka's praise in the comments below. But yeah, we can't wait for it. Oh my god, look at me, I just realized I'm a star. It's behind my head. Sorry if you listen to the podcast.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I just saw that. Meanwhile, I've got a bloody Lupita behind me, but okay.
And that's still iconic.
I think so.
But yeah, I think it's easy to say we're really excited for season 2 to see where it takes us. New guests, new films, new people. There's a lot of new stuff that's I feel like one of those probably YouTubers like there's things going on in the background, but we can't talk about it just yet.
And we never got to also think Flicks with Nick for nominating us for Horror Tuber of the Month. By now it's too late, and so we appreciate that. We were still in our holiday schedule, in a sense. So, but we appreciate that, and
yeah. And if we've won, thank you very much, and if we haven't, fuck you all. So, I'm joking. It's
blame George's schedule.
Yeah, it was my fault. I'm sorry.
And Ben.
But yeah, so it's been a really crazy 4 or 5 months for the pod. But yeah, it's been a great first series, and I can't wait for 2022 to be the year of the horror hour. Do you want to finish off, or do you want me to? You finish. No, thank you.
Dirty. Oh
you
my
want me to
goodness.
finish you off?
No, sir, we are not that kind of channel. Again, what he said, essentially, thank you to everyone. This has been a lot of fun. I think the biggest thing that I've really enjoyed is just getting to talk horror with them, talk drag with Liam and other drag performers, interviewing all this talent and creators behind the scenes has been just, honestly, it's been a dream come true. And I can't wait to see what we bring you next, which will probably, as soon as Scream ramps up, it'll be season 2, we're back.
Yeah. Surprise.
But we're just going to take a little bit of a break until then. So if we don't see you before the holidays, which, gosh, Scream marketing, we don't know what's happening, but we'll figure it out. Hope you guys have a happy holidays, happy new year. Ken, we really do appreciate this. It's been a lot of fun. Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.